And now with me I have the very esteemed, very esteemed Dr. Michael Anthony, who is the author of the original book, and I'm very excited to speak with you this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Now, you have a long history in writing. You know, you've been an author for so many years, and over the years you've written so many books, such as Green Days by River, obviously, The Year in San Fernando, amongst others. You know, I have read a couple of your books in my school days in primary school, growing up in secondary school. You know, it's an honor to meet you today.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the original story of Green Days by the River. What was your initial inspiration back then when you first wrote it?
Well, I wish I knew, because I had no inspiration at all. I thought I wanted to tell a story about Mayaro.
Right.
And, you know, in the first draft and so on, you know, all these characters came in, and the sort of countryside, the appearance of the place, the behavior of the people in general, and so. And the story formed itself, but it happens to all writers, really, in that, in that way. They never know what they want to write until they get going.
Right.
You see? And sometimes it ends as they might wish it to end. Sometimes it's a very artificial end.
Right.
And sometimes it's an end that they put on there because, as an afterthought, it seems to them that this is what they wanted to say. But generally speaking, you know, I mean, they would be satisfied, because when you write a story, you just reflect what is there, what you feel about the place.
Right.
Even if you don't say that, you just reflect what you feel and what you live.
And what you experience.
And what you experience, of course.
So
yes.
did you spend some time in Mayaro? And was that how you were able to draw reference to these different elements?
Well, did I spend some time in Mayaro? I was born in Mayaro.
Right.
I spent all my youthful years, if not quite all, because I left Mayaro when I was 14 to go to a technical school in San Fernando.
San Fernando, right.
Yes.
You know, and from that experience, you know, we could get a little hint of, you know, how the book A Year in San Fernando came about. Now, for Green Days by the River, the characters you have in the book, they're all interesting characters. Were they based on anybody you met during your years spent in Mayaro?
Well, let's just come back to The Year in San Fernando.
All right.
The Year in San Fernando had nothing to do with my going to school in San Fernando.
Right.
The first time I left Mayaro, as I can remember, the very first time was when I was 10. And I was taken to San Fernando, and I spent about exactly a year there. You know, I left on New Year's Day 1941, and I returned to Mayaro during Christmas week in 1941. So that was a whole year.
A whole year
yes.
in San Fernando. And,
yes.
and we know what came out of that.
We know what came out of that. But I don't remember exactly what you had.
Well, you know, you said 1941, you know, so long before my time, you know. So
No. But I don't remember exactly what you had asked me.
Oh,
because I went back to...
Right, to thing. Yeah, so what I'd asked you about Green Days by the River I was wondering whether, you know, we have very interesting characters in the book. I was wondering whether the characters were based on people you came across
yes,
when you lived in Mayaro.
Yes, you asked me that. No, it's all very funny to me in a way, you know, because these characters, for instance, were my friends on whom I modeled many of the characters in Green Days by the River.
Right.
So I knew them. They were part of my life there. And they came in very handily to it's a good thing they were there.
That's right. You know, and now their characters are immortalized in the book.
Well, I wouldn't say immortalized, but anyway, we did a lot of things together, which I enjoyed. I mean, the sort of atmosphere in Mayaro with young people growing up. It's so itself in itself, it is so wonderful.
Yes.
And it's also very much appealing to the writer when he's writing about something he likes,
yes,
that
exactly.
he enjoys, you see. But apart from that, I think that it just makes a writer's life interesting.
Yes, it definitely does. You know, to go through experience and then translate that experience into your work. Now, you had consulted on the film itself. Tell me how that experience was for you.
Who told you I was consulted?
Sorry?
Who told you I was consulted?
I don't want to call names. I don't want to call names, but I understand that they came to you to get information to build the film itself.
Well, let it pass like that. But these people who made the film, fortunately, did not consult me.
Mm.
You see, they read the book.
Right.
They knew the story.
Right.
That made them want to make the film. And they talked about the film with me. But when I said it was very fortunate that they didn't sort of consult me, it's because a writer is not a filmmaker.
Yes, it's a
and
whole
a filmmaker
different,
is not a writer.
whole different ball game, so to say.
So all that happens is that you quarrel. You quarrel. but I feel let them go their way, in which way they can make it attractive. If the germ of attraction is there, then it will flourish. And then I thought, so don't ask me anything. Don't ask me anything about this at all.
Right.
You see? So, and the people I worked with also are people who had their ideas about how they would go about making the film. And I didn't want to hear I didn't want to know much about it. And I must say that it's a very nice thing indeed that we ended up all in agreement that they've done a good piece of work.
Yes, yes, definitely. So have you seen the film? I have to ask.
Yes, I saw it about 4 times.
Very nice, very well. If you saw it 4 times, it means you had to have liked it, right?
No, not really, not necessarily. not necessarily. Like, for example, one of the places that I saw the film is Blanchisseuse.
Right.
And they said, Michael Anthony, you must come. We are showing your film. That's for the Jazz Festival.
Right.
You must come and see it. So I went and I saw it, but I didn't sort of, I wasn't going to be so very interested, really, but I wanted to see Blanchisseuse too.
Yes.
And so I hurried out there to see the film, and we had a nice time.
All right, well, Dr. Michael Anthony, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing your thoughts and, of course, your wealth of knowledge and experience and, you know, the contributions you have made toward the literary arts, you know, in regards to your work. I want to thank you very much for being here this morning, and it has been an absolute pleasure.